Nearly half of Boston households are fatherless, according to a National Fatherhood Initiative review of census data. But one local organization is pushing to make sure fathers who've been absent for some reason can reconnect with their children. Tina Martin introduces us to the program's founder, our latest Greater Bostonian.
Charles Daniels grew up in a single-parent family.
I grew up in a household without my father, primarily headed by my mother.
Daniels credits his mother and other family members for raising him in a loving home, but the pain of living without his father never went away.
When I was older, I found myself engaging in unhealthy coping mechanisms because I didn't like who I was. I felt unworthy. I'm come to find out much of those unhealthy coping mechanisms was connected to me not having my father in my household.
He carried the hurt for years, even attempting suicide. After graduating from college, Daniels became a therapist with a special interest in children and families.
At the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that that pain that I felt, another child didn't have to feel that. Let's get it. Woo, what time is it? Game time. Mitch, give us some love, brother.
Daniels created Father's Uplift, an outpatient mental health clinic 8 years ago.
Our goal is to help a man overcome any barrier that can prevent him from being engaged in his kids' lives.
Barriers like homelessness, custody battles, and back child support payments. Father's Uplift staff members often serve as mediators with the Department of Revenue and the Department of Children and Families. With a staff of 7, including his wife Stephanie, Daniels serves more than 400 men and their families a year through advocacy, counseling services, parenting classes, and job referrals. Lamar Beck brings his son Lamar Jr. to the group sessions he's been attending for about a year. He credits Father's Uplift with helping him through tough times with his children.
Very supported. Loved.
And believes he's a better father as a result.
I like to use the word evolved. I've grown so much. I've become more patient.
Charles Daniels says it's the hands-on, honest approach that works, and it's not always easy.
We're making the difficult phone calls. We're having the difficult conversations. We are holding people accountable who are not giving fathers the best services they deserve.
Daniels is hopeful for all fathers, even the one he never knew.
Despite your mistakes, you still can be the father you always wanted to be. And I still believe that to be true about my father this day, right? Despite him being absent from my life, he still can be the father and the grandfather to his grandson today.
And Tina Martin joins me now. Tina, good to see you.
Hi there.
So the numbers for kids who are growing up without fathers, you suggest they're kind of staggering. Can you explain what you're talking about here? Nearly half of Boston households?
Nearly half of Boston households, according to a 2015 report from the National Fatherhood Initiative, 44,000 of 94,000 households in Boston are without a father.
Okay, so a little bit under, but still a jaw-dropping number.
Correct.
You were telling me earlier when we were talking in the office that there are big implications for kids who grow up without a father. What are some of the outcomes that are negative that you see that you don't want to?
So from that same report, National Fatherhood Initiative, you're at higher risk for drug and alcohol abuse. Children in fatherless households are also more likely to be abused as children.
Okay.
Yeah.
This service or program that you profiled, how do people get steered to it?
So some of it is court-ordered, some of it is family members, a lot of it is also word of mouth. And so you saw in the piece, the sign there said that walk-ins are welcome. So if you're a father and you're struggling and having a hard time reconnecting with your kids or connecting with them, they're there to help.
Did you get any sense, just a final question for you, any sense of whether this is something that some fathers feel a little embarrassed about doing or maybe want to do, but they got to get over a certain mental hump first?
You know, I think that's Charles Daniels' real talent and specialty, is that he's making all these fathers feel welcome and warm. All of the fathers there had no problem talking to us, being on camera. They were very enthusiastic.
That's a huge thing.
Yes.
All right. Tina Martin, thank you.
Thanks.
If you know of someone making a difference in the community, nominate them to be our next Greater Bostonian. Email us at greaterboston@wgbh.org and tell us their story.